Okay, we got an update going on our pepper house. In here we've got jalapenos and bell peppers, two different kinds of peños, two different kinds of bells. I have Sprinter and Ollie for bell peppers, and I have El Jefe and Jedi for my jalapenos. So I'm gonna flip it around, show you the progress, show you what we're doing and how we're. So here obviously we're looking at the jalapenos. We set these up with the bars pie. They run all the way down. That allows me to actually run my irrigation down into each bed that we have set up here. Those are pressure compensated soaker hoses. They've been working really well for us. I got that going on both sides, but it also gave us a cool opportunity to tie off and trellis up all of our plants that we rotate through here. We'll do peppers in here this year, and then we'll move them out of here, do them in a different house, and all of the houses are set up this way for the sake of irrigation and trellising. I'll show you some specifics on the irrigation later, but right now you could see as we're looking at these peppers, we harvested them already really good this week and still have loads of fruit on them. Really happy with the way these are going. You can see I played around with the branching structures. This whole row is a 3 branch, so 1, 2, and 3, and the back is a 4 branch. I really think the 3 branch might be giving me more fruit, but it's not super consistent enough to tell. But I could tell my 3 branchers, man, they're kind of loaded. But really, I'm happy with the production on both. You can see as they're getting bigger, tying them off has become more of a necessity. The fruit is heavy enough to pull these plants right over. You can see that I trimmed them down to keep them really bare. I'm not keeping a ton of foliage on them. Pepper plants are pretty notorious for pests. We did fight aphids in this house pretty good. I did treat these one time or twice with a neem, and that brought us out of it really well, actually. So the neem did really well for us. You can see we just went in from Jedi into El Jefe, and the El Jefe plants are structured very differently. I did actually get about the same amount of jalapenos off these. They're just a bit more bare on us right now, but they've been producing really well. So as you can tell, I don't have a ton of plants per bed. This is the spacing that I was most comfortable with. I went with lower density in all the houses. Again, I very rarely get in a spot where I'm like, man, I really wish I would have shoved more plants in that space. What I wanted this year was to have good, successful harvests, as little pest pressure as possible, and my spacing basically is an accommodation to that. If there is a way to add more plants, I think I might be able to get 3 more down this center row on all of these. But as these branches grow, I'm actually going to start taking them and pulling them up to this far trellis thing, so they are going to be running across here. So I might not really have room to do that. Over here, these are our bell peppers. Just really starting to knead the lines on these. Tell they are starting to come in. I did pull a few reds off. We're letting all these go to red, or basically an 80%. Once they're about 80% turned, I'm going to pull them. Same sort of experimentation, except on this front row I went with 2 branch, and in the back I went with 3. Haven't been able to say what's best on that at all. But you could tell, even if you do a 2 branch system, the amount of fruit that's on these is pretty good. And I'm going to do the same thing, trellising and tying these all the way up to the top. I'm hoping to get them 4 or 5 feet tall off the top of these beds and have, you know, peppers climbing these lead lines. Doing really well, really happy with these houses. Dropping fertilizer on them every other week, maybe a little less. I don't think these need to be fertilized as hard. They don't need to be kept as wet. They don't mind getting a little more dry. Maybe I could show you the level of infestation we had. I did cut a lot off, but you could see here. So that's how thick we were with the aphids. Nothing there now, new growth really pulling out of it. When you're messing with neem in this heat, you're gonna get a bit of this sort of stuff. But I'm really comfortable with the neem, and the owners are really comfortable with the neem. So that is the direction I tend to take. Having done that, we did wipe out the predators that were in here, but my, you know, you just have to make that call. Basically, they weren't keeping up. This house is way more enclosed than that other house. This does not have open sides. They just weren't getting in here to fight for me like they were in the tomato house. So same sort of water setup in here. The dosers aren't in here yet. So we have just been watering with straight city water. Not my favorite thing. Makes some of the organic fertilizer that we're using, which is just, you know, your natural stuff. Blood meals, bone meals, fish meals, guanos, all of that is not as effective using water that's chlorinated. So I really got to get these finished, but the season's got to go too. So with these houses, we had so much infrastructure going in, all of these new fans, all of the new vents. You can see the size of that thing we put in down there, just massive. So the pepper house is doing really well, and we're really happy with that. These plants here, they're probably 2 feet tall. They're doing really good. So just using basic string and clips on these, and that's a brand new doser I got in. I'm gonna do a video as we install that so you can see how that goes in. Our heat-driven hydraulics on these vents are working pretty well. You have to be really sure that they open before your main fan kicks on. Otherwise, it sucks them so tight, like it might be happening on this one here, that they just can't open. Yeah, so it puts so much back pressure on it. It tries to suck it shut, but if it's open all the way, it pulls air through and it doesn't do that. But if it's shut, now it's got a negative pressure on it, and it's trying to shut these vents or keep them from opening. So you really have to set these so that they're open before your fan kicks on. Something to watch out for, something I'm still fine-tuning. All right.